Hello folks, Everchanger here, and welcome back to more Ōkami. Last time, after clearing out the Wauku Shrine and witnessing the rise of the Ark of Yamato, we went around the world and we did pretty much every last little thing we could possibly do in the land of Nippon. Except for three little things, those being the Devil Gate trials dotted around the world. As to what those are, I will be getting to those in a minute. I just would like to show off my inventory before we get started. In terms of my actual items, I really haven't bought anything because I'll be honest, this first Devil Gate trial really isn't all that difficult. In terms of equipment, I've equipped Thunder Beads on my main and Thunder Edge on my sub. They are both powered up with gold dust, something I very highly recommend. And in terms of holy artifacts, I have equipped the Golden Ink Pot, which is basically a must. I've equipped the Golden Lucky Cat just so I can get item drops without having to go and find them. And I've also equipped the Fire Tablet so I can avoid any type of fire damage when it comes up. Now, when it comes to what the Devil Gate trial actually is, let's jump right on inside. Alrighty, you'll notice this is the exact same place that we fought the bandit spider in Ryoshima Coast before. This is where we had that chest contain the sun fragment, and each Devil Gate trial is going to be located wherever you fought a bandit spider. The first one, of course, being here in Ryoshima Coast. There is a Devil Gate right here, which is definitely something worth noting. This is basically an enemy gauntlet. There are 10 Devil Gates that you have to knock out in this challenge, so let's just run in and get things started. Now, a few things worth noting. The enemies inside these Devil Gates will take and dish out more damage than similar enemies that you find outside of the Devil Gates, so be prepared to face off against enemies that are more challenging than you might initially expect. Also worth noting, you want to keep your godhood up in the Devil Gate trials as much as you can, because that allows you to avoid taking damage, and avoiding taking damage is the key to doing well in these things. Also worth noting, you are technically allowed to leave the challenge at any point. However, if you do leave the cave before completing all 10 gates, you will actually have to redo the ones you did. Basically, the entire challenge will reset if you leave in the middle, so be absolutely sure not to do that, because leaving in the middle in some of the later, more challenging areas can be very, very tragic. Now, it is worth noting, you will get money for beating every single Devil Gate. What you want to do is, once you are done, is you want to move out of the way and a second gate will spawn and you can just run right back in. You will get a lot of money from doing this challenge, and you really, really, really want to save your money, because if you're going for 100% like I am, you're probably going to want to buy some of the dojo techniques with the money you earn from this challenge, and if you spend your money on various things or just don't get a lot of money from doing this, you're not going to want to buy your equipment. You're probably going to want to fund your equipment through Demon Fangs, so if you can get a whole lot of Demon Fangs in this challenge, I recommend you do that instead, because one of the dojo techniques in particular costs a whopping 2 million yen, and when I say that, I am serious. You could possibly fund 2 million yen from completing all of the Devil Gate trials, so you want to keep that in mind going forward here. Anyway, we're on round 2 right here, and what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little graphic on screen for every round describing what type of enemy you're going to be fighting in that round, because as you can tell, these things can get pretty hectic, and lots of enemies are going to be spawning, and I might not be able to describe exactly what ones you should expect to find, so I'm just going to be noting each enemy you can find in each one of these trials. Alrighty. Now, of course, at the time of recording this, I don't know exactly how long this video is going to be, but I have a feeling this is probably going to be the shortest video in the series, simply because this first Devil Gate really doesn't take too terribly long to take out, and the enemies are honestly not very hard. This particular Devil Gate will unlock for you, meaning you can do it as early as completing all of the required fights in Ryoshima Coast. So once you have fought all of the enemies on Ryoshima Coast that are scripted, you can actually take on this challenge. So I basically just saved it till the end just because I wanted to do all of the Devil Gate trials at once, but honestly, this one is not hard, so I wouldn't really be concerned about you plowing through this. It's not like you're really, really good at the game or anything and it's really bizarre and you don't understand it. This is just a challenge you were honestly expected to do earlier on in the game. So basically it's the opposite of the Canine Warrior challenge, because that one, honestly, I probably should have waited until this stage in the game to do it, just because I did actually wind up dying and have to use an Astral Pouch during that challenge. This one, on the other hand, is not at all hard, because I think with this enemy, we're actually going to be done with round 3, if I'm not mistaken, out of 10 rounds already, which is not too bad. I expect this one will probably take me about 20 minutes to completely do, which is not too terrible at all. The second Devil Gate is probably going to take me about 10 minutes longer than that, but the third one, oh, all bets are off on the third one, because the third one is a piece of work, let me tell you. Alright, let's take out all of these imps right here. They're going to be throwing some Bud Ogres at us. Even though this Devil Gate is physically located in Ryoshima Coast, I get the impression that this is meant to be using a lot of the Orochi arc enemies, and the Ryoshima arc enemies are going to be in a different Devil Gate, just because there is no Devil Gate in Shinshu Field, and there is no Devil Gate in Taka Pass. They are all located in Ryoshima Coast or later areas. Alrighty, gonna take out these guys really quick right here. Gonna slash you or miss entirely. Alrighty. Now you might be wondering why I equipped the fire tablet for this fight. Honestly, it's because mainly I just couldn't think of anything else to put on there. The Peace Bell does nothing, the Wood Mat does nothing in battle, and the Thieves Glove, I just really didn't feel like equipping it, to be honest. And there are a couple of enemies in this challenge that are capable of using fire elemental attacks, and that's something you're just going to want to watch out for in general. And it's nice to just have the safety net of the fire tablet there, just to be safe. Alright, almost down here. Gonna take out this Bud Ogre. There we go. Get a bloom off. But yeah, basically, if you're wondering why I'm bothering doing the floral finishers at all, it's basically because if I want to buy equipment and stuff, I'd probably rather just use Demon Fangs instead of money, because I want to save my money for some of the more expensive things in the game that I just haven't bought yet for one reason or another. Alright, can we get Bloom to work? There we go. And this guy should be down, and I think that's the end of round 4? I think that was round 4. It'll say on screen what round it is whenever I enter the Devil Gate, but yeah, I'm pretty sure that was round 4. So anyway, going into round 5 right here, yeah, it's basically just a lot more imps. There's going to be a lot of imps, a lot of Bud Ogres, a lot of why is wind not working? There we go. A lot of stuff like that in... Did that actually work? No, it did not. A lot of basically imp-type enemies in this area, just because they figured they would throw all of the Orochi enemies into Ryoshima Coast, which I guess makes sense, because there's actually 2 Ryoshima Coasts in the game, so they might as well make use of both. Alright, can we actually slash you? There we go. Alright, gonna bash this guy in a little bit more. Bring you down. I think I screwed up that floral finisher. In fact, I think the blue imp's floral finisher is actually wind, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it is. Alrighty. Gonna take out you guys really quick. But yeah, these Devil Gates can get a little bit monotonous, and this one, as I said before, is the shortest Devil Gate out of all of them. So if you can use this one as a metric, I'd say the second one is a little bit harder than this. And then the third one is an all bets are off type of deal. The third one is going to be crazy, I can guarantee it. Episode 48, depending on how I go about it, might just take the longest to record out of any episode in the entire series, just because of how crazy it is. Alrighty, that was round 5, I think, so let's head right on into round 6. But yeah, I don't think I've taken damage yet in this entire Devil Gate, and honestly, that's pretty normal, because this first Devil Gate just has a lot of early enemies, so even though they've powered them up, you really don't have to worry about it all that much. Anyway, gonna take out these guys. Gonna take out this enemy. This enemy in particular, this one I'm bashing on at this very moment, probably one of my least favorite enemies in the game, and I think its floral finisher is actually wind, so I screwed that up a little bit. Alrighty, gonna slash that guy off of me, and there we go. And I think we're going to want to pull out the wind on these guys. Alright, gonna slash you guys a little bit more. But yeah, as you can tell, this is basically what probably amounts as a filler episode, because even in the episodes we've done so far, where we've done a lot of side questing and things, there was at least some semblance of story progress, even if it was minimal. It was there. But this one in particular, and the two after it, there's going to be zero story progress whatsoever. I just wanted to dedicate these next 3 episodes to this side quest, just because it's very infamous, and certain Let's Players we all know and love don't even cover these, so it's probably worth showing it off for that reason alone. Plus, I'm a bit of a completionist. Like, let's be honest here. I'm very much a completionist in terms of Let's Plays. My previous Let's Play would definitely give that sort of impression, I'm sure. Alright, I think we're almost done with round 6 here, and right around round 7 and 8 is where these things tend to get really interesting, mainly because that's where they tend to put the most difficult enemies from that particular story arc, in this case the Orochi arc. So coming up here, we're going to be running into some of the later Orochi arc enemies that we're going to have to be fighting, and again, they are all much stronger than their regular counterparts, because we'd probably one-shot all of these enemies if we fought them outside of this Devil Gate. They just like to power them all up in here because they're sadistic. They really, really are. Alright, we're going to slash you. Going to wail on all of these imps. Alright, got our Godhood back up, which is very, very good. I might actually be able to do this entire gate without taking damage, which honestly isn't that big of an accomplishment, but it's a nice thing to be able to sort of brag about. And there's the fire, which I am indeed immune to, which is very, very nice. Being immune to fire doesn't come in handy too terribly often with these enemies, but whenever it does, it's really, really nice to have that happen. Alrighty. Got another one of these chimeras down right here. Took a bit of a hit right there to my Godhood, which is unfortunate, but we're just going to have to roll with it. Alright, slash you. Now, you're going to want to be careful with these chimeras, because I've learned that if you actually stand close to them and just wail on them when they are down like that, you're actually going to start taking quite a bit of damage. I'm not entirely sure why. You just sort of do. I'm not sure exactly if they have some sort of weird counter or something that I'm just not noticing, but it is something that you should probably be wary of. Alright, got my Godhood back up a little bit more. Gonna wail on these guys. Kill you. Did I kill 2 in one shot? No, but it was close. Alrighty. Looks like that imp is almost down. That chimera is down. Man, there's so much stuff going on the screen right now. This is crazy. This isn't the craziest thing we're going to be seeing in these Devil Gates, but for this Devil Gate in particular, it's probably some of the crazier stuff. Alright, can we bring you back down to Earth? Yes, we can. Very good. Gonna want to dodge out of the way of all this stuff right here. Give another slash. That probably... I think I just accidentally... Yep, I just accidentally killed that imp without getting the finisher, but that's alright. Okay. As you can see, I'm racking up money at a decently quick pace, but honestly, this particular Devil Gate is not where you're going to be making your money. Where you're going to be making your money is the last Devil Gate trial. The last Devil Gate trial can give you upwards of like 1.5 million yen for completing it, which hopefully at least serves as an indicator as to its difficulty, if nothing else. Alright, we're going to want to deal with those skulls as best we can. Slash you, and we're all the way up at a 99 hit combo with this rosary. That's crazy. Alrighty, I keep on accidentally casting up ice with my rosary, but honestly, that's not too big of a deal because it does immobilize enemies, and you definitely want to keep your enemies immobilized as much as you can, because if they can't attack, you can't take any damage, which is always very nice indeed. Alright, I don't think this round is over yet. Oh wow, it is. That's impressive. I didn't think that round was going to end that quickly. Okay, I think this next round is 9? Yeah, I'm almost certain this is round 9. Anyway, we're going to want to cast a Veil of Mist, make use of all of these elements available at our disposal. And this is probably the one round in particular where I'd really... Ow. Did I actually take damage there or not? I think I just got hit by the Fire Eye, which had his knockback, but I don't think I actually took any damage because I have the Fire Tablet equipped. And why is my ice not working? There we go. Ice does do a little bit of damage to the fire one. I'm not sure exactly how much, but it is definitely worth noting that it does actually do stuff. Especially since it's been quite a while since we fought these guys, and we definitely did not have the ice power at that point in our adventure. I definitely recommend Veil of Mist for these guys just because they have a tendency to move incredibly fast, and you want to keep out of their way as much as you can. Alright, one of them's down. Can we cast up our Veil of Mist again? And that's not going to do much. Alright. There we go. Got another one of these wheel enemies coming out right here. Alright, that you are stunned, which is good. So we're going to bash you, and bring up Veil of Mist again. I really like how you can cast a Veil of Mist by doing this instead of putting the two lines like this. I don't know, I feel like Veil of Mist, in addition to just being a really awesome power in general, it's probably the one the game is best at recognizing. I'd argue that it is actually better at recognizing Veil of Mist than it is at recognizing Power Slash, which is honestly a really, really impressive accomplishment considering Power Slash is just a line. And of course, as soon as I say that, I actually mess up getting Veil of Mist to go off. Although maybe I just actually drew it wrong, like the wrong number of strokes. Alright, gonna bring up Wind as quickly as I can to put out that fire. Yeah. Alright, gonna wail on you a little bit more. And I am out of Godhood, which is bad. Hopefully I don't take too much damage. And of course I run out of ink because I got a little too ink happy. Alright, I really, really want to keep out of you guys' way because I don't want to take damage. I'm pretty proud of myself at the moment for actually getting this far without taking damage. I don't know if I can get through round 10 without taking damage just because round 10 is pretty crazy even for the standards of this particular Devil Gate, but it would, again, be really nice to say that I got through this entire thing without taking damage. Alright, bringing up our Wind to put out that fire the best I can. Alright, and somehow I got the Floral Finisher on one of these guys. Really not sure how I pulled that off, but I mean, I'll definitely go with it. Ow. Yeah, that Fire Tablet's actually saving my hide right now, which is more than I expected, honestly. I just put on the Fire Tablet just to have something in the third slot, but I guess it's actually working out for me. Ooh. Oh, that was close. Good thing I had some Godhood up right there. And I do not want to use Wind yet because I am very low on ink. Alright, keeping out of your way here. Veil of Mist, and I think I can attack you without having to worry because you're a fire elemental enemy. Alright. So we're going to bring up Veil of Mist one more time and bring up our Wind. Alright. I'll be honest, I've been getting pretty bad at aiming this rosary. Sometimes I'll swing the rosary and then just nothing will happen. I'll just completely miss my mark, which is embarrassing, but I mean, oh well. I guess we haven't been using rosaries that much in the LP recently, actually. We only used the rosary, the Resurrection Beads, the 4th tier rosary, for like an episode before we used, like, what, 2 or 3 glaives in a row, so I guess it makes sense. Alright, is it Wind? It is Wind. Nice. Alright, that one wasn't my finest moment. Pretty bad on time. But anyway, with that, can we get our last gate to spawn? Yes. And with that, we are going to begin round 10. Alrighty, round 10 is basically a whole ton of these black imps, so you definitely want to be very, very careful fighting these guys because they have their laser skull things that can definitely mess you up if you're not careful. Alright, gonna keep out of your way. Veil of Mist again. If you can line up enemies in a row with the rosary, that's definitely a really good move because you can get all of them all linked up together in this chain and then take them all out at once, which is nice. Alright, so there goes 3. Here comes 2 or 3 more. Slash you, slash you, slash you. Bring up Veil of Mist, and go to town. Alright, we have Green Godhood again. Very nice. Bring up Veil of Mist again. And even more Demon Fangs. I'll be honest, I don't think I'm going to be spending all of these Demon Fangs just because I've gotten so... Okay, I just walked right into that one. Just because I've gotten so many Demon Fangs. Alright, I think this is 3 more of these guys. Yeah, I think that's 3 more already. So let's just wail on these guys as best we can. And Slash. Get some demon fangs for our troubles. Slash. And there's another one right out here. Alright, I think there's 10 of these guys total in this entire round. I don't know that for sure, but I will be putting it on screen, so if anyone is unsure, I can have that information there for you, which will be very nice. Alright, give you one more hit, Power Slash, and then a couple more hits on you. Gonna bring up Veil of Mist. And this should wrap it up. I think this is the last enemy. Am I correct about that? I am. That's the last one. Oh, also worth noting, when you complete round 10 of each one of these, a golden peach will spawn in the middle of the arena. You have to make sure to grab it really quickly, because once the arena disappears, the golden peach will also disappear, so you're going to want to be careful about that. Alright, 34,000 yen, perfect rank. And I actually did not take any damage in that fight, if I'm not mistaken, which is impressive. Anyway, inside this chest is a stray bead for our troubles. Honestly, compared to the other devil gates we're going to be doing, this one was no trouble. Going forward, they are going to get quite a bit harder, but with that, let us exit the cave. Alrighty, but anyway, with that, we are actually going to be ending things off here. I know the episode was a little bit short, but trust me, that was easy stuff. What we're doing in the next couple of episodes is not quite so. So anyway, this past episode of Ōkami, we took out the Devil Gate Trial of Ryoshima Coast, and we received a stray bead for our troubles. And next time on Ōkami, we are going to be heading off to the next Devil Gate Trial and hopefully doing as well as we did here. I say hopefully because in reality, probably not going to go so smoothly. So without further ado, thank you all for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Ōkami!